Okay, we're live.
Okay, bear with me. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission being held at the Commissioners' Meeting Room in the Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Room 250, Cortez, Colorado. This is January 11th, 2024, beginning at 6 p.m. We'll open with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You can be seated. So go ahead with roll call.
First order of business would, we need to nominate and elect a chair and a vice chair.
Okay. Do I need to go through all of this stuff before we get to the vice chair?
No,
Okay, cool.
we'll do the chair, vice chair first, and
Great.
then we can.
I would like to nominate John Hernandez as chair. I'll make a motion to nominate John Hernandez as chair.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second.
So we have a motion, we have a second. I guess,
Do I ask them
Hernandez.
or do you?
I make a motion that we appoint Haley
do we
as
need to
vice
vote
chair.
first on the
Yeah.
chair?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I guess we do, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, since we're all unofficial here. So we have a nomination of John Hernandez as chair with a second. Any discussion? Anybody?
Thank you for volunteering, John.
All right. We'll vote then. Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Neergard,
Aye.
and Commissioner Doyle.
Aye.
All right. Congratulations, John. You're the new chair. Thank you. Now we need a nomination for the vice chair.
I make a motion that Haley is nominated for the vice chair.
I'll second.
All right. Haley's nominated. Well, I guess, Johnny, you want to run it for a second here?
We'll do that. Okay, we have a motion and a second to nominate Haley Saunders as vice chair of the P&Z Commission. We'll call for a vote.
Commissioner Hernandez? Commissioner Saunders? Well, you don't get a vote. Commissioner Lynch?
Aye.
Commissioner Neergard?
Aye.
And Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Thanks, Haley.
So now we have us a vice chair. John, since you're on Zoom, we're going to go ahead and sorry about that. Haley conduct the meeting.
Painfully, but I will try. Okay. Okay, so back to the top.
Yeah, now we'll do roll call. Commissioner Hernandez? Commissioner Saunders?
Here.
Commissioner Lynch?
Here.
Commissioner Neergard?
Here.
Commissioner Doyle?
Here.
Also present, Don Haley from the County Planning Department, absent Jane Duncan.
Jane's on Zoom.
Oh, hi, Jane.
You have to unmute, Jane.
Okay, so business, please silence or turn off your cell phones during the meeting. Important calls may be taken outside of the meeting room. Has the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the December 14th minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. If so, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the planning and zoning minutes for December 14th, 2023.
I'll second.
All right. Call to vote?
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Saunders?
Yes. Yes?
Did you vote?
What?
We're voting.
Huh?
We're voting.
I thought you were doing
Oh,
to call the
voted?
vote. Yeah,
Okay.
twice.
Commissioner Lynch?
Yes.
Commissioner Neergard?
Yes.
And Commissioner Doyle?
Yes.
Sorry, I was too quiet.
Oh, I'm dueling here.
All right, any discussion?
No.
All right, motion passed and the vote was unanimous. All right, the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission welcomes you to this meeting. The board is comprised of members who are tasked to make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners. We are not decision makers. We encourage public comment after each permit. People speaking during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced at the discretion of the Planning Commission to allow all members of the public the opportunity to address their thoughts and concerns. When addressing the commission, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments. Comments to individual applicants are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time to others. Is this Chairman Hernandez, or is this me?
Vice Chair
Okay.
Saunders.
Vice Chair Saunders shall be voting at this meeting.
Very good.
All right, roll call?
Commissioner Hernandez?
Here.
Commissioner Saunders?
Here?
Commissioner Lynch?
Here.
Commissioner Neergard?
Here.
Commissioner Doyle?
Here.
Okay, so we're moving to item number 3. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed 2-lot minor subdivision in AR 3-9 and AR 10-34 rezoning application submitted by Bernhard Hafner on property located at 19082 Road W, Lewis, Colorado, consisting of 36.1 acres more or less, located east of Road 19, south of Road W, situated in Section 2, Township 37 North, Range 17 West, New Mexico, prime meridian. Whew. This is a public hearing. Was public notice published? Jane?
Yes, it was.
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes.
And was the sign posted?
Yes, it was.
All right, so Planning Department and applicants, you're welcome to come up to the table if you'd like.
Mr. Hafner, you can come up here to the middle chair and turn on the microphone, please. So this is a proposed 2-lot moderate subdivision with a 1 3-acre parcel, and actually it'd be a minor subdivision, 1 3-acre parcel, and the remaining 33-acre parcel. Surrounding properties are ag and residential. Let's see, access, there's 2 existing residences on Green Sign Road W to the properties. The proposed house, the proposed new lot does not contain a house on it. Let's see, Montezuma Water is available to provide water, Empire Electric for electricity. No irrigation on the property. Wildfire Partner Adapted Partnership recommends a waiver from a comprehensive mitigation plan. Weed Manager recommends a waiver for a full formal comprehensive weed plan. And covenants will be required for the land use code. That's basically it.
Okay. Do you have any, excuse me, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Planning Commission discussion.
Yeah, I know even though the application is complete and it looks like it's all put together the way it's supposed to, in looking at the properties around this property, there are no other properties surrounding it that are zoned this small. They're all larger acreages, and that's a concern for me. It's a concern because of Chapter 3 in the Land Use Code, Part 3101.2, Part D. There's under that section, it's the objectives of zoning, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 objectives to be met by zoning applications, and D is predictability concerning property values, and that has to do with, as I understand it, whether or not somebody can come in beside you and do something that's irregular for that area. For instance, a term that has been used, well, that's used in other parts of the land use code, is matching the rural character of an area. And granted, this is all rural, but the size of acreage is a concern. However, if there are no surrounding property owners that had a concern with that, I guess that would be a, how would you say, something in favor of it.
Okay. And did we have anybody submit anything?
No,
Okay.
and just to the west of there is a 3 acre. That's a 3 acre there and a 5 acre there. And that one is,
Yeah, it looks like there's a bunch of little tinier chunks.
that's a 5 acre. I mean, it's almost a single lot development, but the remaining acres is 33 instead of 35. But there are some smaller parcels within the given area, and obviously, as soon as you hit the highway, you've got nothing but small, but
Yeah.
there's several small 3 to 5 acre parcels around. This is the proposed property.
Yeah. Looks pretty very consistent with the property around it. Any other planning department discussion?
I have the same concern as Commissioner Lynch, wanting to understand why just the 3 acres when the remainder would be less than the 35. So you're coming to the planning commission for doing basically anything else on the property. Why just the 3 acres?
That's for you.
Okay, now the reason is a friend of mine, he stayed already on my property, and the main reason is really in case something happens to me. He has his own property, so nobody can kick him out when I'm not around anymore. It's really just to give him a piece of land, and then I'm in the old farmhouse, and he's still thinking if he take the farmhouse over or if he's doing a small single wide. That's still open. But the reason is really, if something happens to me, he still has his property, he doesn't have to leave. And then in that question, what would you think, Mr. Lynch, what would be your minimum?
Well, For the properties that are surrounding you, the smallest one that's listed in the application, I believe, is 20 acres. So it would be 20 or larger. But you couldn't do that because your total property acreage is only, yeah. So it's kind of a difficult situation, but I'm going to be okay with it since none of your neighbors are here to object.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't change anything. And then even last year, I didn't want to do it. But then suddenly it clicked, yes, he wants to have a safety. And whatever happens to each one of us, it just goes back to the survivor.
Yeah.
But it's no, I'm here in another year and I want to do a next and the next and the next, that's it.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have any public comment? No? All right, well, I will bring it back to the commission and accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the proposed two-lot minor subdivision in AR 3 through 9 and AR 10 through 34 rezoning application submitted by, Bernhard Hafner, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other properties in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning.
Any
And no
conditions?
conditions.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right. Any discussion? All right, call to vote.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Niergaard,
Aye.
Commissioner Doyle.
Aye.
Motion passed and the vote was unanimous. Thank you so much. And Don, I guess you'll be in touch?
Did you happen to bring your sign?
Nope,
Okay.
I wasn't sure if I should, but
Yeah,
it was too cold to think.
I hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
if
I
you-
will bring it.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 4, roll call.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Saunders,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Niergaard,
Here.
Commissioner Doyle.
Here.
You all are welcome to come forward if you're number 4. Okay. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed subdivision amendment application of Lot B of the Wyatt West Ranch subdivision and boundary line adjustment submitted by C&G Sliceof Life LLC on property located at 13968 Road 42, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 28 acres more or less, and Johnny and Machelle Stinson on property located at 13750 Road 42, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 62 acres more or less, both located north of Highway 160 and west of Road 42, situated in Section 2, Township 36 North, Range 36 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, it was.
Am I asking it wrong? Was evidence to the letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes,
And was the sign posted?
yes.
Okay, Planning Department findings.
So this is basically a common lot line, boundary line adjustment, but because the C&G property is in a subdivision, it has to go through the process. Both properties already have a residence, utilities, infrastructures in place. They're just basically swapping 5.5 acres that Stinson owns on the north for 5.5 acres that C&G owns on the south.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, the Stinson property, they have a well. And then there's a cistern for the property at 13968. Wildfire Adaptive Partnership recommends a waiver for a comprehensive wildfire mitigation plan, as well as the weed department.
Okay. Do you have anything to add, sir?
No, this was actually proposed by Ms. Biz. So the access on that north end of our property, he has access and utility easement, so that would become his property. The property on the southeast corner of the property, we were proposing to build a house just on the west side of that, and that way nobody can build in front of us.
Okay. Planning Commission? No? Nothing? All right, then we'll open it up for public comment. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission, and I will accept a motion.
I move to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed subdivision amendment application of Lot B of the Wyatt West Ranch subdivision and boundary line adjustment submitted by C&G Sliceof Life LLC on property located at 13968 Road 42, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 28 acres more or less, and Johnny and Machelle Stinson, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning, with no conditions.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, call to vote.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Neergard,
Aye.
Commissioner Doyle.
Aye.
All right, the motion passed and the vote was unanimous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, when you get a chance, we'll need your sign, and then we'll get you scheduled for the commissioners' meeting. All right.
Thank you. All right, do we have any additional discussion?
I'll do roll call first.
Oh, sorry.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Saunders,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch. Here. Commissioner Neergard,
Here.
Commissioner Doyle.
Here.
Okay. Now any additional discussion? Not
Oh.
feeling chatty?
Only thing I have is to, I guess I didn't get it out in the email, but Eddie Mack has resigned from the board, so we are advertising for a new P&Z commissioner. It's running twice in the newspaper for 2 weeks. Applications are due by noon next Thursday. And we'll do interviews and see who and how the commissioners want to appoint that.
Okay.
So you think, John, we would have a seat filled by the next P&Z meeting?
That would be our hope, that we could have them on board by the February 8th meeting. I also have reached out to Ian as far as doing training. He was on board to do training at this meeting, but we figured DOLA would go first, just in a general overall encompassing training, and then we'll try and get Ian. It depends on what his schedule with being in Dove Creek for coaching basketball. We'll have him do a training so that's specific to our land use code, and his take on how applications should be approached from that code.
Okay.
That's basically all I have unless you guys have something.
And I will be gone.
I wanted to bring that water issue up, Don, if you think it's appropriate to speak about it now or not.
No, sure, it's fine.
At the last commissioner board meeting, for all that didn't attend it, we approved of a 4-lot subdivision in Mancos. It was pretty simple. 4-lot subdivision, one was the last month. And, the commissioners killed it because of the lack of water to 2 of the lots. So it seems to me that the commissioners are not willing to grant a subdivision if water's not guaranteed. And that even got to the point of not only not having a tap, but not being positive that the individual could haul water, which I'm not sure I agree with. I mean, it seems to me that an individual could haul water to his own lot and dump it in a cistern and go. But apparently, that didn't sit well with the commissioners. So that's why I was asking Don for his input on this. If we should even be considering subdivision lots in Mancos.
So yeah, it's a real issue over there because it's not because the water plant can't process. I mean, that's part of the problem. Their infrastructure's a little limited, but it's also a finite resource. Last year they had plenty of water, but they also had their canal to Jackson buckled. And then they also have another, I don't remember the name of the ditch, but it washed clear off the hillside and went through 260-foot acre sections, cut through one and deposited it all on the other. So that ditch company's got a multi-million-dollar repair and design. And anyway, there's real water issues over there. The gist of what came about was that they actually required they purchase the water taps or have Mancos Rural Water give a definitive response that a water tap is available for that exact precise location. They've got a new superintendent over there, so this was his first go around, and it was a little rough. On that application, the owner has a water tap. The future buyer of one of the lots purchased a water tap. They'll bring that application back as a 2-lot subdivision versus a 4-lot. But yeah, I think moving forward, that's going to be kind of the approach. They have no way to hang their hat that you can't use the water dock in Mancos unless Mancos wants to do key cards and issue them only to Mancos residents. They have to control their own destiny. We can't. That's way out of our bounds and our oversight, and it's way out of the commissioner's oversight. Because you can haul water from here to anywhere you want in Mancos. So, I mean, that premise is kind of far-fetched, far-reaching from my perspective, but I know Ian kind of alluded to.
Wasn't it
it's not-
something in state statute, though, that got them hung up at the end?
No, so the and I don't recall the exact section in our land use code. So it does say that if water is not available, a cistern is acceptable and can be installed. But in the discussion and kind of the review, and by following either the lettering or numbering of the paragraphs under water availability, it's not just that water line is tapped out so the next residence puts in a cistern. It's if you're doing a subdivision with a water line to that area that has to service that whole subdivision. So you can't have a split water tap for 2 lots and cisterns for 2 lots.
So I'm glad John brought this up because that really confused me, the way that was handled. because I was feeling the same, I was of the same opinion as John, that we're in an area where people haul water, and so having a tap is not an issue. If there's no tap, fine, it's their choice if they want to haul it in from somewhere, no matter how far away, it's their choice.
Correct.
So that really threw me off when they did that. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
No, and it's just kind of the way Ian set forth the mapping of the numeration, delineation underwater, that's what they arrived at. I'm sure it could go to court and it could be argued either way.
Because if you say that it can't happen because that's a subdivision, well, if you look up the definition of subdivision, that doesn't fall under a subdivision. It's a development, yes. It's not a subdivision, as I understand the statutes. So if that's what he's hanging his hat on for that, then I would also question the definition of a subdivision.
Well, set forth in our land use code, it's a subdivision because you've just subdivided.
Yeah, but we have to use terms consistent with statutes. We can't just make up our own.
No, but what else would it be?
It's a development. A subdivision is very specific in the statutes,
Which is,
I don't remember the wording exactly, but when you read it, you can tell. It's like, okay, there's going to be 10 houses in here, and they're each going to be on some fraction of an acre, and it's going to have this road down the middle. It's going to be paved and sidewalks and all kinds of stuff. That's more subdivision than what this is, in my humble
Are you
opinion.
saying the land use code definition for subdivisions not compatible with
No, I'm-
statute?
The land use code does not have a definition for subdivision. It just uses the word subdivision.
But
So
I-
that's why I was confused about what they were doing.
so I could see a development if you don't split the land. You want to take vacant land and go put a house on there, or two houses because our land use code allows it. That's not subdividing, that is a development. If
Well-
you split land, by definition, you're subdividing it.
No, that's the way some people believe that term is used. A subdivision has a specific meaning in the statutes, and it's not subdividing land. It's what you're going to use with the land and how many family units or multifamily units are going to be there. That's my understanding. And so when the land use code uses the word subdivision, I'm kind of wondering if it's misuse of the word in our land use code, and it should be referring to a development. And that's this particular one that he's talking about would be a 4-lot development. It wouldn't be a 4-lot subdivision.
It's got to be a subdivision.
Only if you're using the definition that when you subdivide land, it's a subdivision, and that's not the definition in statutes.
Well, you're going to have to take that up with Ian and show us specific wording because I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I understand.
But that's just me.
Subdividing and subdivision are two different things. And I agree with Mike as far as the subdivision, and Mike, and you and I both come from metropolitan areas, and we're used to that term being curb gutter, paved streets, multiple homes, and so forth. You know, but getting back to the water issue, my concern is that we 5, as a P&Z, if we entertain an application and we approve an application that we know is going to go to the commissioners and be denied because of lack of water, are we liable?
We're not liable, you're not proving or disproving or denying, you're just making
Yeah,
recommendations.
but we're recommending for them to deny.
Right. So, I mean, it's still up for dispute on the land use code and how that is to be interpreted.
I think it's worth,
And I can send you out that section and highlight that, and then you guys can reread it. It's more due to the way it's constructed as much as what the written word is. By way of the flow of that comes in like item G under water for a subdivision. And it basically says if no water is available, it doesn't say that the water line needs to be upgraded. The developer doesn't want to pay for it. Therefore, only 3 lots get water and the 4th lot doesn't, so he's only, halfway developing. So I had always interpreted it differently until that meeting, but I can see where, from that perspective and the way that code is laid out, that it can mean that development needs to have water to all the lots
Confusing, yeah.
versus having, a fraction of them get water because the pipeline's insufficient. But I will copy that page and highlight, and then you guys, it's up for interpretation. Like I said, there's some subjective parts of this code, and it's not all black and white, and we don't have a judge's standing on that interpretation. I know from Gerald and Kent, because they were around, Kent was actually here when the land use code was adopted, and that was the thought process and what was planned to be implemented that way. But we don't have all that history, and we don't have footnotes and narratives to go along with all this, so it does make sense, though, not to have a subdivision where 3 lots get water and the 4th guy has to go get a cistern.
Because number C, public utilities and services are available or can be made available. So the can be is the one that gets me.
yeah, and I think, we're working with the information that we have. We have to keep that in mind. We can always, put it on hold and kick it to Ian, or if you see something in your packet, we can also ask, is this really appropriate to move forward based on this water concern? Because there have been quite a few things that Ian, after it comes to the commissioners, we say yes and push it forward. Commissioners get legal consult and say no because they have a different interpretation with information that's not available to us. So I think, we were kind of brainstorming about that, is it worth having him review some of these things that seem a little bit more complex, just so we're not wasting somebody's time? Because the commissioners think that we're sending them weird stuff, but really we're operating just with the information that we have.
Well, before that meeting, I was operating or voting with the assumption that, well, even though the person can't buy enough taps, cisterns can be incorporated in the development. And so it wasn't a concern for me. Now that I've learned it is a concern for the commissioners, I have to take that into account and maybe in the future not vote something okay because of that possibility.
Yeah, it's definitely a different approach from the way I was reading it, so it's probably something that we will definitely pursue and delve into deeper. Obviously, Mancos Rural Water is going to have to get their guys on board on what they really can and can't do, because we had conflicting letters, and one guy had already bought a tap, so it's like, well, if you can just go buy a tap, same day service, then is it available or not available? But, you know, we may be able to review these and have it as a condition that you need to purchase your 2 water taps prior to the BOCC meeting, or get confirmation from Mancos Rural
There's all
Water,
kinds of people around me.
because they have to go to the site,
All over.
actually do an analysis
Yeah,
on volume and pressure.
Water for
Yeah.
my horse barn.
That's probably the best way, that way that burden falls on the water company. Mancos in this case. Can they supply or can't they supply?
Right, and so with that scrutiny, we'll have to, the applicant's gonna have to get us a whole lot better, more definitive information from the water company.
Right, and you can ask him for that done in advance. Now that you know that Mancos is gonna be possibly short, can you go to the applicant and say, you know, we need that letter that says for sure they're gonna be able to give it to you, or you go ahead and buy them in advance.
Right. And we do ask the water companies for letters, and we did get one.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we got another one, and then a different clarification on one. But like I say, that superintendent, I think he was new by a week or two, and so there was several people trying to, they really don't know right now. Bottom line is, they're trying to build another water storage tank. But they, according to Gerald, there's miles of 2-inch pipe that they installed out there, which is just ridiculous in the first
I'll
place.
attest to that, because I'm on that line. I
Yep,
got about
so-
20 pounds of water pressure.
So Ted's got one.
2 inches.
So if that's the case, I mean, it's a complete infrastructure problem. So if it's at that magnitude all over the valley,
Well,
then
you can't, worst issue.
we'll have to get
Do laundry, you can't.
more definitive information. And it may even come down to the condition of approval is you go purchase the water taps for your specific address,
System,
and we get confirmation from the water
I
company.
had to put a pump in, to get enough pressure to work on the
That statement right there. Put in the condition, yeah, and before this hits the BOCC. You know, that way they could go in front of them and say, hey, I have water. Not like this poor fellow, you know, just got shot down. I mean, I put myself in his shoes and I felt sorry for him. Thinking, nothing else, I'll just sell that piece of property and tell the owner he's gonna have to haul water.
Yeah, and if you go right across the street to the people that were complaining, they're on a cistern. So there you go, because we already checked.
Yeah, well, almost everything east of Mancos is cisterns. I mean, everything up Mancos Hill is cisterns. I looked
So yeah,
at-
there's half those houses have water and half are on a cistern, and there's no, it just depends on when and how it happened. Some of those are created by exemption versus subdivision, and so they skated by. But yeah, water there, I guess, is a next level of investigation and documentation.
I mean, it's a big issue. That's all I point, that meeting opened my eyes.
So is the outcome that our expectation is that there's an answer to the can be made available?
Yeah, the can be made available comes with confinements. They didn't agree with me.
Okay.
Because to me, you could sit on a lot for 2 years, and then you upgrade the line, or put in the water tank, and more water is available, and then you go down to the corner and you put in the last 400 feet of line, so you got 3 or 4 inch line, it can be made available, but I guess I'm optimistic. They didn't see it my way again.
The other thing too is that Montezuma Water Company's talking about taking them over. They've been doing that for the last couple of years. They've been
Yeah.
trying to agree to do something with it.
Well, that's what they don't make public, is they are connected to Montezuma Water
I
now.
already know they are.
So if the whole plant in Mancos blew up and they had no way to produce water,
Right, we have
everybody still has water.
Right.
Montezuma water's tied in, it's gonna cost them a penny.
Yeah.
A pretty shiny penny to get that water, because they're gonna be buying it for more than what they charge the customers, but they do have water. People aren't gonna be dried up and starved, but that's the other side of the coin.
But that's something that, like you said, we're not supposed to know about, I guess.
Right.
You know,
But yeah,
but I know it. I
that's
mean,
can be made available,
Yeah.
but now you're talking of a whole nother water company buying out a water company
Right.
and changing infrastructure, and so,
No, I know.
yeah, it's,
yeah, that's just kind of a catch-22 for us.
right. But yeah, we'll have to do a little more scrutiny on it, and,
That's gonna be a good question for the attorney to answer when we speak with him.
yeah, definitely put that at the top of the list.
Absolutely.
It's on my list of things to ask.
Yeah.
And it may change with commissioners changing.
I may do that too. I would just, I really hate, Don, for a guy to sit up there and say, your P&Z folks, they voted okay for this. You know, and now you're shooting it down for something that either they missed or didn't understand, or whatever that reason. I mean, we should, in my estimation, should not be sending something to the BOCC that we know is gonna get shot down.
Yeah, but we didn't know this one was gonna get shot down.
No, we didn't, no.
There's been a half a dozen of them I didn't know were gonna get shot down, so I can't answer a lot of questions anymore.
Are we, again, we need to take, in my opinion, need to take that under consideration until that water issue is at least addressed.
Yeah, nope, I agree with you. Good point.
All right, that's all I had. Sorry, folks, for keeping you.
I move we adjourn.
Got a
Second.
motion? Oh, sorry, you're in charge.
All right, meeting adjourned.
No, you gotta get a second.
I did.
I second it.
Have to vote.
Sorry, I was talking.
Have to vote.
No, everybody says aye.
We just say aye, go.
Aye, aye.
Aye, 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 aye.
Aye,
aye,
go.
I think that's
You
unanimous.
good to go, John?
I believe it's unanimous. 6:47 PM.
Thanks, John, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.